Whenever we share focaccia with our non-Italian friends at school, it's always a great success. Never mind if they call it pizza. After watching this video, you will understand the difference between pizza and focaccia. Get ready with the ingredients!
Welcome to my home. Today I want to prepare focaccia in my hometown style with onion and potato. My Chinese friend loved this focaccia and to understand that is not pizza. For Italian, things that don't have mozzarella in the top is not pizza. Our ingredients for today is olive oil. I am very lucky because I use the olive oil that my father make for my family. Yeast, I use dehydrated yeast. If you have different yeast, it's okay. Flour, I use two types. One is white for bread and one is yellow. In Italian the name is semola. Water and mashed potato. Get some flour from the total. White flour, around 15 gram. I add 15 gram with water and all yeast. I make the dough. Continue to mix the dough until turn a ball. The name with this ball in Italian is lievitino. Now to pass in the next step. I have to put my lievitino in the water. The lievitino is in the water. Wait until it floats. Our lievitino float. This means that yeast become active. In our bowl, I put lievitino, the flour, water, and I start to make dough. I add the salt and my potato. It's important don't put the salt in contact directly with the yeast, because when the salt come close the yeast don't grow anymore. I don't add in one time all my water, because different brand with the flour have a different capacity for to absorb the water. Then I prefer and suggest you to add the water little by little. It's good to take the dough for focaccia not so hard. Two, if you feeling a little sticky, don't putting more flour, but to try to work more the dough. The more you work with the dough, more the dough become soft, shiny, and don't sticky anymore. I saw my mother and my grandma to do this for make good dough. I don't know exactly why, but when I make my dough for focaccia like this, the result is very fantastic. My dough is ready. Apparently it's very soft and sticky, but if you wash your hand and clean the table where you make your dough and to put a little flour like that here. Big surprise, the dough, if it's so soft, don't sticky anymore. Now you have to cover the dough with wet cloth. You have to let it sit for a few minutes. After a few minutes, I divide the dough in half. And I give shape. I cover again and start to prepare onion and tomato. I cut the red tomato in half and onion in the slide. I suggest you not cut the onion so big. You have to put onion in the pan under the focaccia. Then what happens? When you cut the onion thin, after you cooking, the onion to become burn, the onion remain in the pan, and people that eat the focaccia to feeling very good tasting, but don't understand what is are and don't look in the onion. Let's move on. I have to use the olive oil now. I don't put olive oil inside my dough because I know that I have to use many olive oil if I want to give my focaccia crunchy taste. I put my hand in the oil and I make sure that these are full with oil like this. This helps me to manipulating the dough. I put inside my pan. I push the dough with my finger at when all pan is covered. Now I have to put the tomato. When my focaccia is covered with the tomato, I put olive oil again. Sorry, but you have to use many olive oil and salt. Is ready for cooking, but first I have to give her rest. What I do is I cover with the cloth and I put the focaccia in the fridge for minimum 4 hours. I like to do this because I prefer to use less yeast and to give for focaccia more time to grow for have more light result. For my children, I prepare different kind with the focaccia. I use the circle pan because is the really traditional focaccia is are in the circle. I put a little oil, not a little, and just my dough. I don't add onion. I push with my finger, and what I use when I boil the potato for put inside my dough, I boil one extra. I cut the potatoes and I put in the dough. When I finished my job, I cover especially the potato with oil, because when I cook in the oven become crunchy the potato. And now I put in the fridge. 4 hours is past. It's time to cook in focaccia. 1 hour before cooking the focaccia, I remove it from the fridge. Go with me, close my oven. You have to put inside the oven the focaccia when the oven is hot. When my oven is ready, the light become off. First to baking, I put some oregano in the tomato focaccia and some fresh rosemary in focaccia with the potato. Now it's ready for putting in the oven. It's perfect.
It's great to be back to Italy. Mom's focaccia has never tasted this good. Is it because of the genuine ingredients that we can find here, or the sea breeze I breathe here? I really do not know. To learn new recipes from Mom, subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of the next episodes.